How the heck do you price your house so that it'll sell? Hi, welcome to another episode of Real Estate with Stephen Smith. Today we're going to talk a little bit about pricing your house to sell. Pricing is a very interesting thing, and it can get it to, there's a lot of emotion involved, mostly for a lot of sellers thinking that their house may be worth a huge amount of money, especially here in the San Francisco Bay Area, Silicon Valley area, where houses are going way over asking. But there's definitely a strategy that goes along with it, and you have to remember a few things so that you don't end up sitting on the market. First, there's only two reasons that a house doesn't sell, and this is according to Lorna Hines, who's a real estate coach in California, and that is that house doesn't sell because it's either marketing or it's price. And assuming that everybody knows about your house, and the marketing's been done, typically, with your agent, then everybody should know about it. And let's just assume that that's the case. So the next thing is price. Well, if it's priced too high, a lot of people won't even bother looking at it. They will just say, well, there's not enough value there. I don't like the neighborhood, the zip code. It's just, for the kind of house it is, it's just way too much. And so if it sits there too long, that's really the kiss of death for real estate, because then everybody thinks there's something wrong with it. And in this market, oh my gosh, spring of 22, we're looking at houses that sell for, in a week, sometimes in a day. So things move very quickly. So what you want to do is make it very attractively priced. I'm going to go over some of the ways how you do that. First, you can price your house too high, and that's really bad. But you almost can't price it too low. And a lot of sellers think that, oh, well, I'll just negotiate down. But in reality, the fact is that it's the other way around. What you want to do is you want to price your house such that people are thinking they're getting a deal, and then they'll come in and they'll make an offer. And then next thing you know, you get multiple offers. And if you have multiple offers, then you can negotiate to get to the highest price. That's the best strategy. But if you go on really high thinking, oh, I'll just wait for a low offer, well, you're probably just going to sit there. Now, with that said, even if it's at a low price, you could probably get more for it than what you were originally thinking if you get enough buyers to make offers, and then you can negotiate back and forth with them by countering them, that sort of thing. So the idea is you want to make it very attractive, and there's certain things you want to consider when you actually go to price your house. One, use your agent. They're going to create a comparative marketing analysis, and it's not your agent's job to price your house. Some people think, oh, well, you're the professional, you're going to price my house for me. Well, what if it's not the price that you think? What you want to do is look at the houses that have sold in your area. And I'm talking about in your neighborhood primarily, in your zip code. And it's apples to apples comparison. So square footage to square footage. So let's say it's a 2,000 square foot house. Anything within like 200 square feet of that 2,000 up or down is probably okay. Same with the lot size. Same with the age of the house. If it's a really old house, it might be a little bit different as opposed to something that has been built within just a few years. Okay, other things to consider when pricing your home, not just the square footage and the location, but also the number of bedrooms and number of bathrooms. If it's a 3-2, which is pretty average, that's good. If it's 2 bedrooms, 2 baths, or 3 bedrooms, 1 bath, that's outside the norm, and so you have to adjust the price for those kinds of things. Also, if you've done nothing to your house and it is really dated and maybe even a little worn out, it's not going to show as well as something that has been updated and remodeled. A lot of buyers, especially newer, younger buyers, they want turnkey. They want to be able to walk in, start living, and they're not normally the ones that'll do a fixer-upper unless they're in construction and have access to tradespeople and things like that. So you have to make sure, again, it's really an apples-to-apples comparison in terms of what it is you have to take into consideration when setting a price. Other things that come into play, things like school districts. They are super important for people with kids. A house in a really good school district is going to typically go for a lot more than one that's in a badly rated school district. So that's another thing you have to take into consideration. How big the garage is, the kind of roof it is, the kind of style it is. Again, you want to try to get as much of an apples to apples comparison with all the houses in your area. Once you get your price, or I'm sorry, once you get all that information, look at the houses that have sold as a comparable. Within the last, at least 30 days, maybe go back even 60 to 90 days, see what they sold for, because that's going to give you a real world idea of what your house is worth. Don't listen to your neighbor who says, oh, well, I would never sell for under whatever, like they don't have a clue. Your agent can help guide you to figure out a price. And between the two of you should be able to come up with something that will actually work for you so that you'll be attractive, especially if there's competition. Look to see how many are pending. You don't know what the actual price sold is, but your agent might be able to talk to the listing agent of that pending house and find out what they sold it for. There's another data point that you want to take into consideration. And then essentially try to price it so that it is right at market value as best as you can figure, or even slightly less. Because people come in and they're looking for deals. Everybody always thinks they're going to get a deal. Well, in the market we have today, which is kind of a seller's market, they're looking for deals. And so if they see something that looks like it may be priced a little bit less than they expected, they're going to be all over it, and they like it. They're going to, if they're serious, they're going to jump on it, and you're going to potentially have multiple offers. That's what you want. Get multiple offers so that you can negotiate up to the highest possible price. Like I said, don't price it too high because people will just pass you by and it'll sit on the market. And so the other thing is when you're taking price into consideration, for solds, see how long they sat on the market. So DOM, or days on market, will give you an idea of what that really is. And if it's been sitting there a long time, that's the kiss of death. In this market right now, if you're on for longer than a month, then that's bad news. In fact, your best bet is to work with your agent and put together a plan B, so that, let's say you revisit it in like a week, especially right now, or maybe 2 weeks. Don't be afraid to lower it a little bit. I mean, what you want to do is get that price attractive so you get people coming in and viewing your house, so hopefully you get more offers. And so if you wait for a really long time and then lower it, then people will automatically think that there's some issue with it, and then they'll just make that assumption. And that's when you get all the lowball people in and you're chasing the market down. So probably the worst thing you can ever do is overprice your house. Even if you were to underprice it a little bit too much, you can still make up for it when you get multiple people putting in offers, which is really what you want to try to do, and then negotiate upwards. Okay, the last thing you want to take into consideration, especially if you've done renovations, don't overvalue the renovations. Even if you put a huge amount of money in there, your house is never going to be worth outside of a certain range in a given neighborhood. So be realistic about that. I mean, do the things, do the kitchen, do the bathrooms, but don't go crazy on it and then expect you're going to get all that money back, because chances are you're not. And then don't put emotions over logic. A lot of people have a lot of pride in their houses, and the joke is that they think they're built with golden nails, and they think they're going to get way more than everybody else when there's always another house available. I mean, it's not what you're going to get for your house, it's what you're going to get or somebody else could buy for that same amount of money. And that's what you have to really bear in mind. Those are the realities of when you're going on the market. And then the other thing is don't forget to take into consideration any ear sore or eyesore kind of things, or any kind of blights that are going on within the neighborhood. They're going to affect the value of your house. So if you live in a pristine neighborhood, that's great. But if you got a place, next door, a couple doors down, and the yard is just completely shot, or it's got old broken down cars, or maybe they're trying to run an auto shop business out of the front yard or something, that's going to have an effect, and you have to take that in consideration, because that's the reality of what you're dealing with. But just take all those things into consideration, and you should be able to arrive at a fair value for your house. Well, that's pretty much it in a nutshell. Again, this is one of these topics that you can go way into detail, but I wanted to at least scratch the surface to get an idea. Again, work with your agent. They'll be able to help guide you when it comes to putting a price on your house, but be realistic and use some strategy and try not to get emotionally involved. So with that, that's another episode of Real Estate with Stephen Smith. Thanks for watching, and please like this video if you got some useful information, if you like what you heard, and subscribe, because I'm coming out with new content all the time. And then right below is my contact information, as well as at the very end of this video is some more contact info. Leave a comment, reach out to me directly. I work the San Francisco Bay Area, primarily the the Santa Clara County, South Santa Clara County area primarily, but I work all over the place. So if you have any questions or anything, please feel free to reach out to me. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.